We are back on the electrics and some progress, although I'm a bit confused about what's going on. So I'll leave you to see how we get on. I've just sort of stopped halfway through because it was getting quite long. And so we've dealt with these glasses are just so hard. So where was I? Electrics. And so we got the engine turning over, but I'm a little not sure how. And we've been working on the pop-up headlights, and so you can see the progress there as well. But I've stopped halfway through the pop-up headlights, which is as far as I've got at the moment because the video had already got to over 30 minutes. So enjoy. So this is the reverse light switch, and these are for the headlights, you know, to protect stuff. So before I get back to trying to work out what on earth is going on with the electrics, I'm just going to install these so that it's done. I've installed the switch. This is the reversing light switch, and I've not tightened it up yet. I've tightened it in, and I just want to make sure it's working before I do the locking nut on it. But it's not working, so I've checked for power here, and I've not got power, so it comes along this white. Okay, so the white comes from the ignition. All right. So it goes through this fuse, and the fuse goes to various places. For example, the wiper motor. Now the wiper motor is working, so that means the fuse is good. So there must be somewhere in here that I've lost my connection between the switch and the fuse. Oh, and that right there would appear to be where it is. So, yeah, like you can see it's, can you see? You can see right in the middle there, there's a, the connections come out. Oh. Right there, you can see it. Right, so I managed to pull out the loose bullet, connect the wire up to it, fit it back in, it's secure. We have a reversing light. We don't have two, so we'll just try. I think these are all new bulbs at the back actually, so that should be okay. So we'll have a little fiddle at the back here to see what's going on. Well, I started by just changing over the lights, and it worked. So I was installing the light over here, and I discovered it was a poor earth for some reason, or a poor power connection. Anyway, whichever one, I tightened things up, and that seems okay now. So we have reversing lights. I just need to tighten it up. Lock. Oh, I better make sure it's not on when I take it out of reverse. That's in first gear, which is the closest we get to reverse. It's not on, so I just need to do the locking nut now. Okay, so with those bits done and the reversing light all sorted, I can now get back to trying to work out what is going on with the power to the starter motor. Okay, so I'm trying to work out where I'm not getting power from, and I'm trying to confirm what conclusion I came up with which is that the red and white from the ignition isn't getting across to the relay. Okay, so I'm doing that with a light instead this time, and the screen wire is connected to earth on the battery. And if I put it in 0.30, that should always have power, and you can see it does. Yay! So if I then put it in one of the red, then okay, here I've got it in where when we turn the ignition key to 0.3, we should get power, and we're not. So we're not getting power across there. Now I think in this one, I'm not sure if that's where power goes from, or it's there when you're in 0.2, but in either case, when I turn it, we're not getting anything there either. And that's in 87A, which is the one that should have power, and when you turn the key, it should go off, and it doesn't, and it goes off because the power comes through. So, okay. And here I've got it in earth with the green wire, well, after this is connected up to the green, going to positive, and we've got the light coming on, so it's earthing properly. So the outcome of that little test for me is that I'm not getting power along the red wire. Now I tried connectivity on the switch. I'm going to take a battery over there, and I'm going to see if I connect the power to 1, does it come through? Right, so I've got my green wire going from the positive into the brown wire on the ignition switch. When I turn the ignition, and then coming out of the red and white is the light. See, out of the red and white to there. And if I turn it, oh, it was working a second ago. Sorry about that. I have to make sure they're not touching. There we go. Okay, and so it had come off the connector. Right. So when I turn it to position 3, as you can see there. Oh, what's going on? Right, I've added a clamp, and I've got it connected so that they're not touching, and when I turn it, it comes on. Okay, so the switches work in there. What we should also have is that red, when we're in position 2, that red and white, so one point over, should also have power. So I've moved this over, you can see the connector, so it's now on the second one. We're keys in position 2, and we have power. Oh, we have in 1, so we don't have it in 0, we have it in 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so that red and white is always connected. Okay, and I've just checked the other wire in here, which is a white and yellow, bottom right, and that comes on in position 3. And in position 2, but not in position 1. Okay, so let's go and look at the wiring diagram and see if we can work out where some of those are going. Okay, the colours are in fact WK, which I think is pink, white and... yeah. So the white and red, which I've been talking about, which comes on position 3 and just then goes off, comes along here and goes up to number 5, which is my starter relay. Okay, so now it goes past a start inhibit switch for the automatic transmission only. Mine's not automatic though, so I shouldn't have a start inhibit switch, and if I do, perhaps it's got fouled up in some way. But it's going across here somewhere. Okay, the one that I thought was white and yellow is just white, and that is, of course, you know, once you've got ignition, and that goes off to well, everything that just runs once you have ignition in place. And the white and pink radio, speakers, so it seems to go to your radio and your speakers. Yeah, that's all it goes to. It goes to your radio and your speakers, okay? So I guess that means you can have that on in position 1. All right. So it's definitely an issue somewhere along here. And I think for that means I've got to take the dashboard out again. I'm wondering, so just so you can see where I am, and these are the wires that go back to the reversing light. And oh bloody hell, I just fixed that, not very well clearly. And this looks red and white to me and just loops around, so I think that must be the starter inhibitor switch. And so I'm wondering if we're getting power even to here. And when I fix this, I'll have a look at that. Okay, so I don't get power to either of those. Oh God, you can't see. I don't get power to either of those, which I think is where the switch might go on the auto. I think this is meant to go to my coil, and I do have power to that, and I don't have power to the dizzy. And I need to look at when that would take place. So I'm not getting the red and white getting power there. Back to this. I was just checking it didn't go through fuses or anything. It doesn't. Straight in there. So tomorrow the dash is coming out again. Right, it's 2 days later and this dash is coming out again. It's 2 days because on Tuesday it poured down all day and I didn't fancy coming out here. And then yesterday I donated platelets in the morning and I was feeling so ill afterwards that I didn't do anything all day. So so it's 2 days, right? So we'll start by taking this out. I'll get out as little as I can in order to try to access the red and white wires. At the same time, I will try to get the speedometer cable in because it's not in and it should be. I've had this bunch of wires sat just here in the footwell in the passenger area, and I've just untangled, and it's all for the radio, and I've untangled it a lot, and I'm going to disconnect them here, and then that leaves me with, so you know, some connections have been put in on it at some point. But what I also noticed is I've got this, okay, and these are for lights that go, I can't remember where, but they go in here, I think it's here, they go under here, in there, okay, and I think we've got a couple of connections here, so that might be for things like I don't know if these have connections on them at the moment, but it might be for them, for the cigarette lighter and the lights. In fact, one of them is almost certainly for the lights, given that this is what this is. And that might explain That might be one of the connections. It might not be connecting through because of that. So, the thing is, I can't work out what it's for because my green label here doesn't show me. I can't read it any longer. Oh, right. So I haven't taken it off yet. I've disconnected and just got these straightened out. Okay. And I've been under here, and I can tell that this big lock goes to the starter, and I've been giving that a pull, and I'm trying to go see where it goes on the other side. And then I was going to try measuring the amps again, and it turned. Damned if I know why. I don't know what I've done, but I must have, I guess, had a short or something somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if I'm more confused now than I was before. In fact, I'm pretty sure I am more confused now than I was before, because I don't know what I've done to enable that to happen. This is one of my relays for the headlight motors, and if you listen, oh, well, that was working before. That's interesting. Right, let's try this again. So we should have, at this point, power to this one here. And okay, is this one not working all the time? We've got power there first. Yes, okay. So now we should get power here. So at this point we should have power to the middle one. And we do. I don't know if you saw that, let's do that again. There we go. And then when we connect up here, oh, I was connecting, oh, it needs to go to power. There we go. Okay, so that's working, and what we should now have, to be honest, let's check. There we go, we can see the power goes to that one and comes off this one. Okay, so this relay is working. I'm going to check now the power to the relay. Okay, so I've connected this red into the permanent power on the switch, and I've got it there, and I just gave it power by, and I connected the green in there, and then I gave it power by connecting the two. Where's it gone? Okay, so when we have power to it, that gets that going. Now what's interesting about that, that is power to the permanent power, which is wrong. I say it's wrong, but I don't see how it can be. So what I've done is I've changed it. Now the red is still connected up to permanent power. I can't quite see it in picture. The green I've connected up to the negative. Okay. And when I have the headlight switch in position 0, so off, I shouldn't get power here. I don't. When I have it in position 1, I shouldn't get power here. I don't, not really. And when I have it in position 2, I should get power here. I don't. Okay, so I think that my switch isn't connected up very well. I do have problems with that switch because it's all broken. So we'll have a look at that switch in a second, but first we will test the other relay. I just thought before I tested the relay I would check that I get the same thing here with the motor going up, and I don't. So I'm going to test the relay and then I'm going to see why that's happening. Okay, on my good relays I've had about 54.2 ohms across here. Okay, 53, 52, maybe it was 52.4. But it's in the same ballpark. So that looks okay. I want a negative to either side. And that should now give me 12 volts to here. Okay, so that works. Now if I apply 12 to here, we should hear it click. Okay, and having heard it click, what we should now see is 12 volts to here. Oh no, there it is. Poor connection. So let me try to keep my hands and stuff out of the way. Okay, good. So this is good. All right, the relay works. I've put that back together, and I did the same tests on the wires as the other side and got the same results, so I haven't bothered to show you. I also carried out one more test which I'd really should have done the first time, but when the switch is in the bottom position, that should, I think, send power to this one as well, and it was only sending 0.2. So again, that brings me back to the switch being a problem. So I'm going to look at that now. I've still got to get to the other end of that as to why that one isn't working. So this is my headlight switch, and you can see the problem I've got is that the connector is broken, and so two of my wires I've just got going in on button connectors. Okay, that's the blue and the red. Now this is the wiring diagram. Number 14 is the switch. So we should have a brown coming in to here, and then a brown and a blue going out. So we have a brown coming in there, and then we have a brown and a blue connecting these two, and that brown going off somewhere. Okay, so what that should do is means we've always got power coming in. It comes along this one in effect to the other side, and so when the switch goes down it pumps the other side. Now according to this, the red and green should be going out of the single one there. Am I meant to have another brown coming in? Ha! That's what's gone wrong. Right. I honestly thought that was going to solve it for me. That's in the off position. That's in the on position. It's hard to get it in between. There's the middle. And nothing comes on, no lights or anything. Right, so the other thing I was going to show you. So these are connected up as they should be according to the diagram, as you can see. Okay, we've got blue and brown, brown, blue. On the other side we've got red and green, brown, and the two blue and brown coming out of here. So that is connected up properly, and if we can see in there, those connections are okay. I mean, you know, it's not the best thing, but they're there. So that should work. And I've got nothing. Right, now what I do find is if I switch the red and the blue, the beam will come on. Okay, so if I switch the red and the blue, the beam starts to work for some reason. Let's try it. So you can see that those are switched. Beam on, off, on, and off. And can we see the lights down there? I think you can just about see them, and I don't know if you can see them right around here, right around the where the red jump cable is. You can see the lights coming on and off. So that's that. Right, I'm not sure how well I can show this, but we'll try. So this green is to earth, and this brown is power. So this bit here should always have power. And if I connect this up, we've got 12 volts there. Okay, and none of these at this point should have power, I don't think, because, well, I don't know actually, but we've got virtually nothing there, virtually nothing there, and virtually nothing there. So that's with this in the down switch. If it's in the up position, we've then got power to these. Okay, that's what you'd expect. Now, so with this now the other way, this brown here should always have power, and there we go, it does. And when we come down, we should get this one having power, and it has 12, and we should get that one having power. Well, and it does 12. Okay, so it's not the greatest setup, but that's working. So why aren't any lights now coming on? Oh. Anyone who's worried about these, if you saw them off to the side, I've connected those up. I also noticed that this blue wasn't actually, when I looked through here, quite connected up, and so I now have my beams working again. So that's good. Well, sort of. So the beams are working, but the headlights aren't popping up. Alright, but we've got power going where we expect it to go from here. So I think the switch is okay. I mean it's not great, obviously, but that switch is doing, I think, what it's meant to do. The beam flash doesn't. Anyway, so I think that's doing what it's meant to do. Right, I haven't put this back together so that I can see it's all connected up. Alright, and I wanted to check with it connected up if I'm getting power to my permanent connection, the permanent power here for the relay. I want to see if I'm getting power to the permanent power here for the relay. That's it there. Okay, I'm just going to test the one side, but am I getting power to the permanent and am I getting it to the other when it's in the bottom position. This is going to permanent power, and the green is connected to earth and basically no, and to the power side to initiate the right. So that is getting me power now to power that one up. It's not the greatest, but that might be my connection. Right, so if I switch it off, do I get power to the what I call the permanent power? No. Let's just try the other side as well. So this is permanent power. Got a little bit, but not much. And when it's switched on, I don't seem to be getting much when it's switched on. Okay, so I don't understand why I'm not getting the permanent power still through, but I think from my point of view that switch is okay. So I'm going to get that back in and have a look at the diagram. I have so many loose connections in here, I must do, or bad connections. Look at that, lights up. It goes down. I switch it on again, it doesn't. And it does. Okay, so we have here the headlamp flash relay. It's not connected to this in any way. Number 19 is the headlamp delay unit. So I think we've got a problem possibly somewhere here. Well, I know we do, because if I flash the lights, we do, because if I flash the lights, it doesn't do anything. So, is that horn working now? Right, the horn's not working because I've disconnected it. Okay, so we will check that after lunch. Well, as I said at the beginning, I'm not sure what was going on there in terms of the starter motor suddenly starting, but I think those extra wires I had must have been just taking all the power for something or other. And with the pop-ups, clearly I've got a loose connection in there, so I'm going to try to work through that next and see if we can sort it out.